Hey, welcome everybody. Saturday Mornings Outdoors. My name is Paul K. And this week we're going to be concentrating on the garden. And as promised, today I'm going to finish up assembling the new Troybilt Super Bronco tiller. And I'm going to go through from start to finish, winter over. This is how it looks at the end of the winter. To completely tilled and ready to set out my stakes and plant. And so if you're into gardening and how we do it up here in New England, stay tuned and I'll show you how we do it up here. So this is the beginning. We're going to go from that to this. Done. So there's the star of this week's show, and what I want to show is man, I love it. So basically what the process is of assembling it is pretty simple. You're attaching this handle to the machine, and then you're running the cables up. This is the reverse forward level, and this is the clutch, basically to engage the tines to rotate as you're riding and to make the vehicle go forward. So when you want to roll it around your yard or from the shed, it has these cotter pins, and there's a hole here, and it's in roll mode right now. The axle is sticking out somewhat, and the cotter pin goes through. When you want to put it in drive mode and you want to till, you basically lift each side of the tiller up and put that pin through that hole, and the hole in the wheel and the hole in the axle, and then you'd be in drive mode. And pretty much standard engine, but what I really love in all these modern small engines, and this is huge because honestly, when you're going to use this tiller, it's probably, me personally, some guys till every week between the rows. I'm going to use this just to bust up my garden. But so this is the carburetor, and look at anything, I think probably 15 years, you know, for storage wise. At the bottom here, get right up in there, this is the carburetor. This is the bowl of the carburetor. Look at that, it's got the bolt. You pull that out and that'll drain the carburetor, and that on every engine is huge, because if you leave the proper way to store these is you open the choke all the way, and then run the engine dry, then open the choke, and that will drain all the engine from the tank into the carburetor. And then just open that up, open that bolt, that screw out, just take that screw out, and all the gas will drain out of it. If you fail to do that, the gas will evaporate in here over the year, and your needles and floats inside, which are miniature and a real pain in the neck, will gum up when it evaporates, and you'll never get this thing started. You have to pull the carburetor all apart, and you have to clean the needle and float in every part of the carburetor. So with this simple adjustment, some of them have a petcock, a button that's spring loaded. You just push on it, which is very handy. But this one it's just basically a nut that you take out, and it drains all the fluid. And that to me is freaking awesome, because now you can run this thing, you know, store it potentially forever, and it'll start right up on the first pull. But so that's the overview of the assembly. It's pretty straightforward, and we're ready to get working on the prep of the soil of my garden. Just as an added note, I don't see any other video on YouTube that gives extensive info on how to run this, but if you have this tiller, this is the till adjustment bar, and what it does, I'll just give you a look. If you follow that bar underneath here, it's this bar right here. Hope you can see that. And by pulling it up, like in this down position, this is basically, let me get it rolled up here. There we go, now I can see. This bar here, and this rider bar here, this skims along the ground, and if you pull forward and up, that adjusts this bar. so that you're going deeper the higher up you go. So, and you're going lower. When it's like that, that's going to skim on the ground, and that's the highest. You can just roll the tiller, and the tines won't engage into the earth. And as you pull it up, and the higher you go, the deeper you're going to till. So it's really huge, because without that information, you're not going to really know how to adjust this, right? So to actually adjust it, it's a lot of guys just yank up on it and they get stuck. I see in a few videos, it's basically you pull forward, you pull towards you, which you'll be standing here. You pull towards you and then go up, and that will release and engage. It's spring loaded basically, but that's how you adjust the depth, and that's huge. Obviously, that's why you got the tiller. It kind of gives you a guide here in the depth adjustments, but it's not really helpful because it's just a pictorial guide of the inches that it's gonna go, but it doesn't tell you how to operate the daggone thing. Anyway, that's the tour of the tiller. Let's get to work. So in my garden, at this stage, nothing has been done. This is salt marsh hay, and salt marsh hay is sterile, because if you use hay or straw as a mulch, winter cover in your garden, you're planting hay and straw in the spring. Salt marsh hay is, if it's available, usually on the coastal areas, it's sterile and you won't have any seeds. So what I'm going to do now is rake all that stuff up into a pile. I'm going to run my mulching mower over it and turn it into stuff that I can till into. Made in America. So I've pulled all the detritus over from the edges, all the salt marsh hay and the leaves, and now I'm going to run it over and grind it up so I can mulch it in with the mulching mower. So at this point, big difference, ain't it? And you just chop all that stuff up. Now, I'm going to add the lime, which our soil up here is acidic, so we need to sweeten the soil, so I add powdered lime. This is where it gets messy. That's a one. and that's 2. So basically, this is what you look like if you work in the Colombian cocaine fields. Sorry, but so that's the lime application. Now, at this point, I would start tilling with my spade and just turning all that in. But now I got the tiller and things are different. Let's give it a whirl. So we're gonna fire her up for the first time. Let's see what happens. Well, that's no good. So, this is the kill switch, and you have to turn it on for the engine to start, I'm assuming. So, let's see what happens. Wow, runs like butter. Once you turn it on, pretty quiet too, actually. So we're gonna have the first run ever with it. No, I don't have any experience with it, so don't laugh too hard. Well, that's quite impressive. I have it on a low setting, and this is only going to take me 10 minutes, but that is amazing. That friable soil. Wow. It used to take me a couple hours to do this easy, but on the other hand, now it'll be a while before the fat comes off. So let me get this done and I'll show you the end result. I'm going to do about 3 passes. It says go high, medium, for the tiller blades to go high, medium, and low. So I'll run it through a few times. So there it is, completed. And man, that's deep too. It's more uniform than I could get with the spade. It's just tiller costs money, but there it is, the completed till job. Everything's mixed in, and still a little bit of work though. I can taste some tomatoes now. So fire the Bobby up. It's such a gorgeous day. So the final analysis, I think, on the tilling, as far as the tilling goes, now that I've thought about it, I've been using a spade for my whole life and just tilling that way. The modern tiller, the Troybilt, does a much thorough job mechanically. It's obviously labor saving. It'll save you a lot of work, but it goes down about 7 inches. And I can honestly say, when you till with a spade, if you're doing a good job, that I'm down about 1 foot. And the other thing, this really beats up the soil, so I'm sure I'll have to add organic material a lot more often than tilling with a spade. Coming from a spade to a tiller, this stuff kind of dawns on you. You know, you're beating on the soil more with a tiller because you're doing a more thorough job as opposed with the spade. And the other thing is the spade gets deeper, and that's pretty much how I figure it. So we have tiller cam, and man, this thing works awesome. Reverse is tip it up, and it'll go in reverse. You got to get the tines out of the way though. Like one-handed operation, it truly is. What a difference. I'm about the medium setting now too. So man, that's what it took me hours. And so you can go down, dude, it's like, I'd say that's about a good 6 inches. They say in the instructions that the soil should be a little bit moist, which it is, and but you can see how easy it is now to till. It's incredible. I'm really impressed. I'm so glad I got this thing. So next up, now that everything's mixed in, I could lay down some manure, and I'll put my tomato stakes in next. So just wanted to introduce the guys that got one of these, some of the intricacies of running it, and that will be this edition. It's still a little bit of work. You got to guide that thing, and it's not light, but I'm done. It took me like 15 minutes, so I'll give this a 9 out of 10 because it's like when you buy your first snowblower. It's like you wish you had it 30 years ago. Thank you so much, guys and girls, for watching, and out in the veggie garden, Trail Boss. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.